I'm just gonna click my notifications. I'm not gonna look. It's this one. Secret of the Mimic. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The puppet? Bum, bum, bum. The secret of the mimic is gonna be Charlotte, because Charlotte that's the puppet song. Yo, yo, yo. Oh, I wish I could get more excited. I'm just so tired right now. Oh my golly. Oh my golly. Chat. What? Who is that? 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 Circus? Balloon circus? Secret of the Mimic. 2025. Okay, next year. Okay. So, Secret of the Mimic. It's the Secret of the Mimic. That's crazy. It's the first time in the title, like, literally just, it's like, it tells us, like, what's the game gonna be about? It's gonna be the Secret of the Mimic. So, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's, but... Okay. So we have a puppet box. We have a puppet box. And we have... It's winding up. This really reminds me of the puppet, chat. And it's playing the puppet song. And I don't think this ground is important, is it? I don't know. And we know that in the games, most likely the mimic is meant to be mimicking Charlotte, because the guy who created the mimic, I'm trying to remember his name, in the book, is a Henry Parlow, and he created it for his kid in that. So you assume he created it for his kid in this, which is Charlotte. So Charlotte and the mimic, to me, have always been linked, because that was the first thing the mimic ever mimicked, was her. And so it's really interesting that we're getting a puppet box and we're getting a Secret of the Mimic, because that's telling me Mimic and Charlotte are linked, like I always assumed. And so for me, the Charlotte is used to represent the Mimic, and the Mimic is basically, like, anytime you see anything related to Charlotte, obviously she's not back. She burned in FNAF 6. The Mimic is back. And so the fact that we're seeing a puppet box is telling me maybe, and it's called Secret of the Mimic, we're gonna learn more about the Mimic's origins with Charlotte. So that is really exciting. Of course. Does this look VR to you guys? It kind of looks VR. I don't think it's VR, but I wish it was. And then it opens. Oh my god. And we see this guy. Chat, what? Who is this? You think this is the Mimic, chat? Who is this? Probably the new, like, balloon circus character, right? But who? The Mimic. The recorder? Whoa, 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 wait, where's the recorder? I don't see a recorder, chat. Yo, wait, that's a really important detail. I don't see game called Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, which is a crazy title. Which is a insane title. Wow. Oh, here. Does it say something about... I see. Yo, chat. Oh my gosh. 1979. Chat. We're going back to the beginnings. We're going back to the beginnings. New puppet character? Yeah, or the I feel like, I was just talking about this. I feel like Charlotte and the Mimic are linked. Because if Edwin is really a parallel to Henry, then the Mimic would be a parallel to... Like, his kid would be a parallel to Charlotte, and so that's the first thing the Mimic ever mimicked. So the puppet is linked to the Mimic, because the first thing he ever mimicked, and it's what he was built to do, is mimic Charlotte. And so, and then the fact we're seeing 1979 here, is the game going to take place in 1979? That would be the earliest game in the timeline. Right? That's insane. Chat. 1979. Secret of the Mimic. The Mimic's been around for a while, chat. Wow, 1979. Secret of the Mimic. And we get a clown character. Obviously, you know, this is the circus game that we've been teased for years. Obviously, based on this. Is it gonna be Circus Babies? Probably not. Isn't this based on the first FNAF place ever? So the problem is that we know the first Freddy's opened in 1983. They just say that in Security Breach. And we know that Fredbear's closed in 1983. This could be about Fredbear's. Fredbear's could have opened in 1979, but I don't think it is, based on the circus character. So I don't think this is going to be a Freddy's location, necessarily. I think that this is going to be a completely new thing, maybe with Freddy's included, but it's going to be, instead of being a location that Henry and William made together, it's going to be more so about what happened before their partnership with Fredbear's. So, assuming Fredbear's is the first location, this is going to be about before Fredbear's. So it's going to be before the first location, which is even crazier. Because obviously we're seeing a circus character which doesn't fit Fredbear's. I mean, obviously this guy could be the puppet of Fredbear's. That would be interesting. If security puppet's not at Fredbear's and this guy is, that'd be really interesting. That would be really interesting. But no, I think it's gonna be about the circus, which the circus is most likely something that William used before Fredbear's to make his Freddy animatronics, and then Henry made his, like, clown animatronics. And it was like a circus, but it wasn't a real location. Right? And just, I'm going on that based on Secrets of the Mimic. We know that he has those suits of the elephant and the lion. So, yeah, so Fredbear's was Henry and Afton. And this was like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, this is Afton's first. That's possible. This is Afton's first, you know, getting into it, which I can see, you know, this being the circus. That, cause, okay, let me pull up my timeline real quick. It's kind of outdated, but not really. Nothing in there is wrong. I just need to add more things because we've gotten more information over time. Like, I need to add some more stuff to this. But let me open this up. Yo, it's gonna be so laggy because, okay. So Matt Pat said Afton was inspired by a circus. So I don't believe Matt Pat on a lot of things. I think he's wrong about a lot. I don't think he was inspired by a circus. And I actually have the opposite opinion, so I'm going to show you right here. That it's not that he was inspired by the circus. He created the circus. He created Fredbear's Sing and Show. Like, that's not something he was inspired by. That's something he made. And it wasn't in the 40s. It was in, like, the 60s. Right? And... or the 70s. And he created it. Right? So here's what I'm thinking. He created Fredbear's Sing and Show. Most likely as an attraction, you can see here, of this circus. This circus, you know, is probably where our game is going to take place. At this circus here in our timeline. Which is where Fredbear's Sing and Show is. You know, created by Afton. My only problem with that is that this game being about, like, Afton's work is we always assumed Henry was the one that created the mimic. So what I'm leaning towards is, what if this isn't Afton? What if this was actually made by Henry? And the reason I'm thinking that is because I think this game's going to focus more on the Henry family than the Afton family. We've already gotten a lot with the Afton family. I think now we're going to move over to the Emilys, right? The Henry's family. And the reason why I think that is because of the mimic and the repeated use of the puppet and Charlotte. Charlotte being his daughter and the mimic being his creation. And so the fact that the mimic and the puppet are linked to this circus is telling me that possibly it wasn't William who made it, but it was Henry. Or they both worked on it. There's another problem. There's another theory. This could be like a third party, you know, circus. They both work on separate attractions, right? He works on Fredbear's Sing and Show. And Henry works on, you know, Fazbear Circus or whatever. And that's where they meet. And then after that circus, they decide, you know, we're going to build our own thing together, and they create Fredbear's. That's also a possibility. They could meet each other here. It could be the beginnings of the partnership. So I think it can either be both of them here, or just Henry, or the game's not going to happen there. I don't think we're going to see, even though I always assumed this was just William who did this, I think that this game is going to point us in a different direction. Because the fact, again, with the mimic with Charlotte, Henry is here. And the fact that if Henry is here, and the mimic is here, and Charlotte is here, then obviously it was either just Henry who did it, or it was Henry and William meeting each other, and eventually starting up Fredbear's Family Diner. So, you know, anything's possible. But I think we're going to go back to the circus, which is literally the first thing in the timeline. Fredbear's Sing and Show in the circus. First thing in the timeline, you know, created by Afton, or possibly Henry now. And we're going to go back here, and it's going to be the earliest game in the timeline. It's going to be the first one to ever predate. Can I open this? What just happened? Yo, what is going on? It's going to be the first game to ever predate FNAF 4. You know? Because the game timeline ultimately does go 4, sister location, I haven't memorized. 4, sister location, 2, 1, 3, 6, custom night, help wanted, FNAF AR, security breach, help wanted 2, ruin. That's the timeline of the games. Afton was puppets and Henry was animatronics. This could have been their first test going with Afton's puppet. Yeah, Afton was suits. And that's why I always assumed he was the circus. Because, you know, it's his suits. But, you know, the main thing is then we're going to see some stuff that we've never seen before. So it's something we can't really theorize about because it could be completely new information, right? It's going to be completely new stuff we've never learned about because we never knew. We had no evidence to point to Henry and William working together before Fredbear's, right? We actually had evidence against it with the mediocre melodies being copies of the Freddies and knowing that the mediocre melodies were made by Henry, assuming that the Freddies were then made by William. So maybe they meet here, they break off each to their own thing, and then eventually merge. So it's possible. It's possible. Wow, there's a lot of stuff before we get to the first game, chat. This is the beginning of the timeline. And it's going to add even more with this game, but... And then... Wait, where is it? There's FNAF 4. Yeah. So it's really interesting that we're going to see a game 1979, chat. That is exciting. There's another thing, though. Do you think the game... There's two possibilities. The game could take place on 1979. Or, the game could take place in the modern day, and we could be looking back at 1979. Looking back at what happened there. Learning what happened there. Trying to figure out the secret of the mimic. I just think whatever this is, it's going to be the biggest lore drop we have had since FNAF 6. Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic. Chat, you think it's gonna be Halloween? I don't know, it's orange. And the audio just made me think it's gonna be a Halloween release. It's gonna take place at Fall Fest. That'd be Yeah, I think, yeah. It is confusing. And the fact that there is an animatronic, and also the fact that it's a puppet, where we know the puppet is Charlotte, and we know that Charlotte is Henry's daughter, and we also know that the mimic is his creation. I think that does, like you're saying, point to the Henry having more involvement than we thought. You know, it being more so Henry than Afton. Which is interesting. For sure. I always assumed Henry was the guy that made all the stuff for it. And William more so did the... You know, like the marketing. You know, Henry was the guy behind the scenes, and Henry was the guy at the location, you know, wearing the spring Bonnie suit, doing stuff there. And I guess it's just building upon that. Yeah. It's interesting. And oh yeah, and then with the Mimic too. Posted at Fall Fest 76. I said Fall Fest 70. It's crazy. This is 79, guys. This game takes place in 1979. Or at least that's the information we're getting. 1979 here. The Fall Fest poster is 1970. Like, it's a full 9 years before this even. Like, this is even earlier. Right? 1970. That's almost a decade before even this game, Secret of the Mimic. And that's crazy. And so we're thinking this could be the origins of everything. It's really interesting. Like, why? Could be the year shut down. Oh, yeah. 70 to 79. That could be possible. Although, no, because we know here that there's a Fall Fest 83. So it at least goes to 1983. So it can't shut down in 79 because it has to go to at least 83. But this is really interesting. And I think a lot of the questions we have, but using the information we have, we're not going to be able to get answers for. We're not going to be able to get answers for the stuff that we have because all these questions are meant to be answered by this new game, Secret of the Mimic. So, when this game comes back, we'll be theorizing every little bit of it. We'll be live streaming, playing it, breaking down every little thing that's happening. This is the most excited I've been for a game in the FNAF franchise since Custom Night. You know, security breach, even when the trailers are coming out, like, I was excited, but, like, it's not my style of the game. I like more the smaller things instead of, like, a giant pizzaplex. I like the smaller, and it looks like we're going to get the smallest as it gets, the literal beginnings. And the Mimic's one of my favorite characters. He fixed the lore after, it was ruined by security breach. The Mimic fixed it all. Do I think... Oh, yeah, the new Into the Pit game. We'll have game lore. I was actually just thinking about that yesterday. I did, until Scott on the interview said that it's based on the book. And he said that he didn't have involvement in it, really. He talked about that they really just gave him updates every 7 months. And all he did was send them the book. And it wasn't originally meant to be an anniversary game. But he just said that the graphics were so good and he liked the gameplay enough that he decided to make it the anniversary game. And that tells me that we're not going to see a lot. But I like to be delightfully proven wrong. Yeah, he also said that he's going to have that studio make Fetch next. So, I don't know how Fetch is going to fit into the lore. So, again, more evidence that unfortunately, I think it's just going to be for gameplay and not for lore. Which is kind of, I don't want to be mean, but kind of disappointing for an 10-year anniversary special. So, hopefully I'm wrong. Wow, this is really exciting, though. This is really exciting. 1979, Origins of Freddy's, the Mimic, fixing the lore. Just Mimic sweep all the way. Yeah, that's great. Well, everyone. Into the Pit. Into the Pit's coming out on the 8th. I don't know if you understand. Into the Pit comes out in 2 days. Into the Pit is the day after tomorrow. It releases. So, I'm gonna have to find time to play that game a lot. Yeah. Into the Pit comes out on the very, very, very soon. And then Secret of the Mimic next year. Secret of the Mimic is coming out in 2025. Do you we'll probably get 5 laps at Freddy's before Secret of the Mimic, like the full game release. We'll probably get full game release of Joy of Creation before that, but I don't know for sure. I hope we get candies at some point, more stuff for Candies 4. I'm holding out for Candies 4. Oh, and Pop Goes Evergreen is probably not coming anytime soon, but I'd like to see it come soon. Anyway, Secret of the Mimic. Very, very excited for this game. Joy Creation Story Mode is my favorite FNAF game. Yeah. Fan game. My favorite fan game was always Candies Remastered. I love Candies Remastered. my problem is I'm very bad at video games. And Candy's Remastered, I feel like, is kind of easy, but it's also really, really fun. And Joy of Creation is very, very hard. I couldn't get, I played the remaster, the little demo on stream. I couldn't get past 2 a.m., which is kind of skibbity. But, it was really exciting. And I would like to, I will try and get better. For when the full game comes out, I'll hopefully be able to play it more. And I like Pop Goes too. I never even heard of it until it became a Fanverse game. So once they added to the Fanverse, I brought it back. I played it for the first time and I really liked it. People like Candies? Hopefully Candies 4 releases. We got teased that game like a while ago, and we still haven't gotten any trailer or anything. So hopefully it's still being worked on. I think it is. Anyway, Secret of the Mimic. 2025. Very exciting. With that, everyone, I'll see you guys on the next video, on the next stream. Tomorrow, I'm doing daily. For the anniversary, I'm doing daily videos reacting to whatever comes out that day. And of course, today was Secret of the Mimic. Tomorrow will be 5 Laps at Freddy's the Demo. We'll be playing that live. Very, very excited there. It's going to have some lore. There's a whole level called Midnight Motorist with juniors in it. And it's about to confirm that Freddy's is juniors and not Fredbear's. It's very, very exciting because then Crankjaw's the runaway and I've always been right. And I'm just the best at FNAF lore. And so with that, I will see you guys all in the next video. Goodbye.